General Hospital spoilers teasing that at long last, the secret of Joe's parentage will be laid bare, but fans will be stunned to learn exactly who let slip that Gio is the son of Dante Falconeri and Brooke Lynn Quartermain. The shattered silence. Port Charles was coming awake to another tense morning at General Hospital, the corridors humming with the low murmur of nurses' stations and the distant echo of rolling gurneys. In the pediatric wing, Dante Falconeri paced like a caged lion, his dark eyes haunted by the image of little Rocco Falconeri's pale face. Night had stretched into morning, and though Rocco's vital signs had begun to stabilize, Dante's guilt and rage still simmered beneath his crisp white uniform. He strode into the playroom where Gio, the mysterious new patient under Dante's watchful eye, sat quietly assembling wooden blocks. The boy's calm composure struck Dante anew. How could such serenity exist in a child caught in the crossfire of Port Charles's most explosive secrets? Dante's jaw clenched as he recalled the heated words he'd exchanged with Gio only hours ago. In the chaos of Rocco's collapse, Dante had lashed out, "If anything happens to my son because of your negligence, you'll answer for it." The words had ripped through the sterile air like a bullet, and Joe's wide, hurt eyes haunted Dante's dreams. Even Lois Cerullo, usually the picture of steel-steeled professionalism, had lunged forward, hands on Dante's chest, shouting, "Stop it, Dante. You have no idea who this boy really is. You'll regret every word if you knew the truth." At the time, Dante had brushed her off angrily. What did Lois know of responsibility, of a father's terror? But those words lodged in his mind, unsettling him more than any threat. Now, standing just a few feet from Gio, Dante's anger wavered. His uniform felt heavy, a symbol of both his authority and his fallibility. He drew in a slow breath and knelt beside Gio, forcing himself to meet the boy's steady gaze. "Gio," he said, voice softer than he'd intended. I'm sorry." Gio looked up, surprise flickering across his face. Dante's apology felt like a chasm opened within him. Could he really apologize to this boy, this stranger, after calling him irresponsible? He swallowed, words fighting to escape. "I was under a lot of stress. My son, he's very sick, but that's no excuse." Joe's lips quivered, and he glanced toward the door where Lois stood, arms folded but her expression unreadable. Dante's chest tightened. "Can you forgive me?" Gio looked down at his blocks, fingering the smooth wood. It's okay, Officer Falconeri." The title grated on Dante's ears. Gio still saw him as the badge, not the father. Dante forced a grin. "Just Dante is fine. No more Mr. Falconeri today." Gio nodded slowly, the playroom's bright walls and stuffed animals doing little to soften the tension. As Dante stood, Lois approached. Her eyes were sharp. She'd witnessed Dante's outburst and the boy's wounded reaction. Before Dante could speak, Lois's voice cut in, gentle but firm. "Dante, thank you for apologizing. Gio deserved that." Dante turned to face her, guilt and curiosity warring in his expression. "Lois, earlier, you said I'd regret what I said if I knew who Gio really is. What did you mean?" Lois hesitated, brow furrowing. She glanced at Gio, who was quietly stacking blocks again. A pang crossed her features. She knew too well how volatile Port Charles could be when truth emerged. "I shouldn't have said that," she whispered, eyes darting away. "You shouldn't have said anything." But Dante pressed on. "Lois, you're the one who raised me. I need honesty." She drew a shaky breath. "You have a right to know, but maybe not yet." Dante's frustration flared. "No, Lois. If there's something I need to know about this boy, about why you were defending him, tell me now." For a heartbeat, Lois looked ready to refuse. Then, in a slip as sudden as thunder breaking, she sighed. "Gio, he's your son." Dante's world snapped. His hand flew to his mouth, color drained from his face. He stared at Lois as though she'd sprouted fangs. "What did you just say?" she repeated softly, but Dante barely heard her. His heart thundered. His son. Gio, his son? Impossible. He thought Brooke Lynn's secret child was lost forever. He'd assumed that chapter closed when Brooke Lynn vanished from his life. Yet here was Gio, quiet and watchful, the living embodiment of that hidden truth. Dante's breath came in sharp gasps. Memories flooded back, stolen glances, hushed conversations, the guilt-racked nights when Brooke Lynn had spoken of the child she'd given up. Now, those secrets lay bare in Lois's trembling words. Dante's eyes darted to Gio, whose head was bent as if sensing the shift in energy. Dante fought to steady himself. This can't be real, he whispered. Lois met his gaze, vulnerability cracking through her stoicism. I never meant to tell you that way, she stammered. I was trying to stop you from hurting him, and my words slipped out. Dante clenched his fists. He felt rage toward himself for not knowing, toward Brooke Lynn for hiding the truth, and toward Lois for the inadvertent reveal. But above all, he felt an aching longing, an urgent need to connect with the boy he'd fathered yet never met. Gio looked up, confusion clouding his eyes. You said I'm someone's son, he piped. Dante swallowed, stepping forward as if drawn by an invisible tether. Gio. I'm your father. The words strained past his lips, heavy with awe. The room stilled. The hospital hum faded to nothing. Joe's blocks scattered on the carpet as he bolted upright, eyes wide. Dante felt the full weight of what he'd said, a declaration that would shatter their world. But before Dante could elaborate, the pediatric nurse peeked in, reminding them that Rocco's monitor was beeping. Reality surged back. Dante placed a hand on Joe's shoulder, words rushing out. I know this is a lot, but I promise you I will explain everything. Joe's lower lip trembled. He nodded, tears glinting. Lois stepped aside, guilt etched on her face. As Dante hurried toward Rocco's room, his mind raced. How had Brooke Lynn survived all these years without telling him? Where had Gio been hidden? And, most urgently, how would he bridge the chasm between them? The reckoning and the race against time. In the hushed intensity of Rocco's ICU room, Florence Dawn's soft voice updated Dante on his son's progress. Rocco's color had improved. His breathing was more stable. Relief flooded Dante, but he struggled to focus. Behind each comforting word, he heard Joe's startled questions, Lois's tearful admission. He realized he needed answers, and fast, before emotions spiraled beyond his control. When Dante emerged into the hallway, he found Lulu Spencer awaiting him, concern furrowing her brow. Since discovering Rocco's crisis, Lulu had been a pillar of support, first as his sister-in-law, then as a surrogate sister to Dante's family. Yet as light filtered through the frosted glass, Dante sensed in Lulu's eyes a secret urgency mirroring his own. Before he could speak, Lulu blurted, Dante, we need to talk about Gio. I've been doing some digging. Dante's pulse spiked. You have? Lulu looked down, twisting her hands. I've been trying to find that secret child of Brooke Lynn's ever since the rumors started, ever since she came back, but nothing concrete. Recently, I shifted focus to Gio. He's been here, but I couldn't find records. It's so odd. Dante's chest tightened. You think Gina's records were hidden? Lulu nodded. I suspected someone manipulated the system. Dante's mind raced. That sounded like the kind of cover-up he himself would execute as a cop, only he'd done none of that. Yet Joe's profile was buried. Who would hide a child's existence at General Hospital? Dante swallowed hard. He realized that neither he nor Lulu had lawfully the right to probe private medical files or personal histories. Yet the urgency of this truth pushed all ethics aside. Lulu, I'm a detective. I can access external databases, school records, birth certificates. I might be able to pull something. Lulu's eyes widened. Dante, you can't, he cut her off. This is my family. I'll do whatever it takes. Before Lulu could object, Dante strode down the hallway, determination etched into every step. Over the next several hours, Dante tapped into contacts from his police work, old colleagues in the county clerk's office, a forensics friend who owed him a favor, even a hacker acquaintance at the PD willing to overlook protocol. Within minutes, he had Joe's original birth record, born under the name Giovanni Falconeri, date matching that of Brooke Lynn's secret child. The attending physician was listed as an anonymous intake. The paperwork bore no signature from Brooke Lynn. Dante's breath caught as he saw the confirmation. Gio was indeed his son. He also uncovered the trail. Brooke Lynn had arranged for Gio to be placed in a charitable foster program, then quietly transferred to General Hospital's long-term pediatric ward for a mystery diagnosis that required discretion. Someone had intentionally obfuscated the files, likely to protect Brooke Lynn's reputation and spare Dante from scandal. Armed with irrefutable proof, Dante returned to the playroom where Gio sat quietly coloring in a picture book. Lois hovered nearby, tear-stained and guilty. Lulu watched from the doorway, conflicted but supportive. Dante knelt before Gio once more, holding out a printed copy of his birth record. Gio looked at the paper, then at Dante, confusion and wonder mingling on his face. "Is that me?" Dante's voice trembled. "Yes, Gio. It's you. Your real name, your real mother and father, me and Brooke Lynn." Joe's breath caught. His pencil slipped mid-stroke. Dante reached out, fingertips brushing Joe's hand. "We lost you once, but we won't lose you again." Joe's eyes glistened. "My mother. I've heard her name, but I don't know her." Dante's heart broke. "She loves you more than anything, and so do I." Lois cleared her throat. Dante looked up at her, anger and gratitude mixing. She swallowed. "I'm sorry I blurted it out. I meant to protect you, not cause the storm." Dante nodded, the words little comfort. "I know, but I'm glad you did." Dante turned to Lulu. "Thank you for your help." Lulu offered a tentative smile. "We're family now, blood and chosen." Though the core truth had been uncovered, Dante recognized that their troubles were far from over. Reunion with a secret father is only the beginning. Forging a bond would take time, patience, and courage. Yet as Gio placed his small hand in Dante's, Dante felt a spark of hope, one that might burn away the pain of all those years apart. Meanwhile, Brooke Lynn Quartermain, unaware of Dante's clandestine investigation, was navigating her own emotional labyrinth. At the Quartermain mansion, she replayed Chase's joyful announcement in her mind. Their newly adopted baby boy was home, an innocent life promising a fresh start. But every rock of the cradle echoed with ghosts of the child she had given up long ago. Gio. She had not yet returned to Port Charles, choosing instead to carve a new life in Switzerland, thinking distance could safeguard her heart. Now, she would learn of Joe's return not from Dante, but from a phone call that rattled her to the core. Lois, her former friend and colleague, with trembling excitement, informed her that Joe's parentage had been revealed to Dante at General Hospital. One gasp later, Brooke Lynn staggered, clutching the receiver. Gio, her firstborn, was alive, being claimed by his father. Her knees buckled at the thought of missing another moment. With racing heart, Brooke Lynn booked the next flight to Port Charles. She arrived at the hospital just as Dante, Lulu, and Gio emerged from the playroom's sliding doors. Gio looked up, confusion giving way to sheer delight as Brooke Lynn approached, tears streaming. Dante's expression softened with relief. At last, the mother he never knew could stand beside him. Brooke Lynn embraced Gio, whispering apologies through her sobs. "My sweet boy, I'm so sorry. I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere." Between his parents, Gio smiled, a fragile bridge uniting the fractured Falconeri Quartermain clan. But even as family bonds reknit, darker forces stirred. Someone in Port Charles had concealed Joe's existence, and it would not go unnoticed. As Dante escorted Brooke Lynn toward the ICU to see Rocco, Lois lingered, glancing at the computer where buried files now lay exposed. She knew secrets had power, and in Port Charles, power often came at a deadly price. The revelation of Joe's true identity had shattered walls between families and kindled new alliances and rivalries. Dante's apology, prompted by guilt, had led to the moment that changed everything. Lois's impulsive warning had cracked open Pandora's box. Lulu's quiet sleuthing had underscored her fierce love for her brother-in-law, and Dante's urgent, unorthodox investigation had restored a missing piece of his heart. Now, as the trio, father, mother, and son, stood reunited, they faced the uncertain future of forging bonds that years of lies had intended to destroy. And so, as the sun set over Port Charles on that fateful day, one truth prevailed. In this city of endless soap opera twists, no secret remains hidden forever. But the most powerful revelations are those that bind hearts back together, stronger than any deception. General Hospital's corridors will never be the same, and neither will the Falconeri Quartermain family. Because the secret of Joe's parentage, once buried, has finally been set free to shape their destinies.